Hey friends, welcome back to Simply Home and Harvest. I'm Jen, and today I'm going to show you 3 recipes that you can use as breakfast recipes that are full of one of our favorite things this time of year, pumpkin, or at least that's my favorite thing. But pumpkins aren't just tasty, they're actually good for you too. They include beta carotene, they're high in antioxidants, and they also help lower your blood pressure, believe it or not. So even though this might not be the healthiest recipe that you've ever tried, I am going to show you a few things that you can change around. Instead of using vegetable oil, we're going to use applesauce. Here are 3 simple recipes that you can use this fall season. Stay tuned. The first recipe I have for you today are pumpkin cranberry muffins. Now, muffins are kind of a staple in our house. My kids love them and expect them pretty much once a week. So the pumpkin muffins are definitely a great thing to add to our fall menu. And what I've done so far is I've added 2 cups of all-purpose flour to my bowl, and then I added 3/4 cup of sugar. You saw raw sugar there. To that, I'm adding 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon ground cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon ground ginger, and then I'm going to add to that about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now we just want to give that a little mix to incorporate all those spices with the flour. And about now, my house is really starting to smell like those wonderful scents of fall. I've been thinking a lot lately about changing out some of our recipes just to add in a little more fruit and vegetable and just make them a little bit more healthy. And so instead of adding, we're going to add our pumpkin there. I'm sorry, that is 1 cup of canned pumpkin. But instead of adding the 1/2 cup of vegetable oil that the recipe calls for, I thought I would go ahead and use a substitute. And that substitute, you can use applesauce, mashed banana sometimes to substitute for oil. But today we're going to try this applesauce. So I'm adding in 1/2 cup of applesauce. And this is just an unsweetened applesauce. Now to this, we're going to add 2 eggs. And we'll go ahead and get those whisked in there. Now I find that mixing my wet ingredients apart from my dry ingredients is just a little bit easier for me. And I don't know, I feel like I get everything mixed in a little bit better. So I'm just adding my wet ingredients now to the dry ingredients. And we'll just take a minute or 2 just to incorporate those. Now at this point, you could totally go ahead and bake your muffins and you would just have pumpkin muffins. But I am going to add in some dried cranberries to mine today. This is 1 cup of sweetened dried cranberries. You could also add in some chopped pecans. So we just opted for the cranberries. And even I guess you could add chocolate chips if you wanted to. Just really anything that you'd like to add in, you can do that at this point in your recipe. Now I'm using a silicone pan today, and I did go ahead and spray it with a little bit of olive oil spray. You probably really don't need to with the type of pan I'm using, but I think that it was just a habit because other pans, I do tend to grease. So if you have a muffin tin, you probably do want to grease it, or either add the little paper liners, the muffin liners. So I'm going ahead and just fill in our cups about 2/3 of the way full. And you could, at this point, you could, after you get your muffin cups filled, you could add in extra topping. You could add in a little bit of coarse sugar to the top, anything like that if you want to. I did not do that this morning, but that would be really yummy. A little topping, even like a little streusel topping you could put over those. We're going to go ahead and get these into our preheated 400-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes, or until we can insert a toothpick in the center and it comes out clean. Next up is pumpkin oatmeal. Now, I am an oatmeal fan, and really, I'm a fan of all these recipes. I know I'm telling you these are fall recipes, but seriously, I could eat them all year long. So into a saucepan, we are going to add 1 cup of oats and 1/2 cup of pumpkin. Then we're going to add to that 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and about a 1/4 cup of milk. I'm choosing to add almond milk here. And then we're going to add in 2 cups of water. You just want to get this mixed together really well, and then we are going to bring that mixture to a boil. Now, I stay pretty close to the stove and pretty much continuously stir this while it's cooking. But once it does start to reach that boiling point, you'll see that it's going to start thickening up. I'm going to turn it down and just let it simmer for about 5 to 7 minutes, just until that oatmeal is completely cooked through, or until it comes to the desired thickness that you like it. Both of these breakfast items were absolutely delicious, and I highly recommend you try these, especially if you have picky children, because anytime that you can get a vegetable into something, and pumpkin is a vegetable, I say that's a win. I do like to top my oatmeal with a little bit of maple syrup, or especially the pumpkin oatmeal. Sometimes I'll do honey on my regular oatmeal, but I'm topping this one with some maple syrup and some chopped pecans, or you can just leave it plain. But just a yummy breakfast, and perfect for this time of year. Well, last but not least, pumpkin pancakes. Now, I may have saved the best for last. If you ask my family, they'll say I absolutely did save the best for last. I love pumpkin. Have I said that already? And these pumpkin pancakes, we have them year round. But let me tell you how we make them. First, we're going to start out with 2.5 cups of pancake mix. Now, you can skip the pancake mix and make your own mix with some flour and baking powder. But this morning, I opted to use the baking mix, or the pancake mix. So that's 2.5 cups of pancake mix, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, then a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of pumpkin pie spice, and a little bit of nutmeg. And I sift the flour and the brown sugar. Now, you can sift, you can decide not to sift. That is completely up to you, but I have found that I get a much smoother texture in my pancake batter, and especially after it bakes, it seems like there aren't a lot of lumps in the texture of the pancake, and everything cooks really evenly. So that's my tip there. Sift if you can. When you're baking, it seems like the items just always turn out a little bit better. Okay, so we got all of our dry ingredients together. Oops, I dropped that egg in there. So now we're going to whisk together 2 eggs, and we're going to get those beaten. Now we're going to add to that 1/2 cup of canned pumpkin. And then on this recipe, I also decided to opt for the applesauce instead of the oil. So I'll be adding to this 1/4 cup of applesauce. And last, we're going to add in 1 1/4 cup of almond milk. Now you can use regular milk if you have it, but we're going to use a little bit of almond milk and we're going to add just a splash of vanilla to that. Now we're going to get our wet and dry ingredients incorporated, and I like to just make a well in the middle and then slowly add my wet ingredients to the dry ingredients. I just feel like if you just work really slow and keep stirring, it doesn't take long at all to get those mixed together. Now I'm just going to get our pancakes onto our well-loved griddle. This griddle probably gets more use than any appliance in our house. We use it a lot, especially on the weekends for breakfast. Go ahead, I'm using a gravy ladle, as you can tell. Do you all have that one utensil in your kitchen that you use for different things and you really don't have any rhyme or reason why you use, say, a gravy ladle to ladle your pancake batter on the griddle? I'm not sure, but I've always reached for that utensil, so who knows. But I will let these go ahead and cook until the edges turn brown, and then it's time to flip them. Now, sometimes I get a perfect flip. However, I'm pretty much 4 for 4 on a messy flip right here. So, still taste the same. Even though they're not perfect, they still taste the same. And boy, were they delicious. I hope you enjoyed those recipes. If you make one, make sure you let me know in the comments below. Tell me how you like it. Also, just want to let you all know how much I love and appreciate each one of you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, remember to live simply, use what you have, and enjoy the moments you've been given. Bye, friends.